Yo, what's good YouTube? It's boardzy, and it's pretty common in the mouse reviewing scene for a mouse to be overrated, but in this case, I feel like I actually overhated the Pwnage Stormbreaker in the first video I made talking about it. I've taken some more time to use, really get adjusted to this mouse, and it's really my exact type of mouse, so I don't know why I let a few flaws like kind of tarnish my opinion of it. But if you are unfamiliar with it, it is a 50-gram magnesium EC2 more or less. It does have good tech. It has an adjustable sensor position. They provide glass skates and standard PTFE skates in the box, and it is $180, so it's by no means the cheapest package, and I still feel like with something like the Death Adder V3 being $130 on sale, or like $60 for the wired version, that is going to be a better buy when it comes to an ergo mouse. But if you are looking for something a bit scaled down, smaller, lighter, the Stormbreaker is definitely an incredible option. And yeah, I really do appreciate that this is an enthusiast geared release. Unique features like the sensor positioning, low weight, and obviously a pretty familiar shape. There are some issues with the buttons that I'll get into, but at least it is not like focus group corporate bullshit like the Razer Cobra Pro. Yeah, now getting into how the mouse feels itself. Like I said before, it is 51 grams. The weight balancing is nothing to really write home about. I did mention it was a bit back heavy at first. That is pretty dependent on the sensor positioning. If you have it towards the bottom, it is going to feel a lot more back heavy, and obviously vice versa. I would say the position I have it at is just what's most comfortable for me with where I line my thumb up, and for weight balancing as well. So you can really tune it to what works best for you, but just keep in mind it is going to affect how the weight feels slated. I've had no issues with the back of the mouse like wiggling around while I fingertip, which is honestly the main way that I notice weight balancing being off, because when I'm putting a good amount of pressure and claw gripping, it's just like the slight weight inaccuracy is not going to be picked up. So I'd say all things considered, this mouse is not going to feel dense. It's going to feel very light and just nice to move around. If you're somebody who's used to the hunk and just like bulkiness of a Zowie mouse, it's probably not going to be for you unless you want a pretty drastic change. I would say Death Adder V3 falls in between the two mice when it comes to weight. It is a pretty large mouse, and the weight just does feel distributed nicely on the Death Adder though. But yeah, Pwnage Stormbreaker definitely is going to be the lightest feeling ergo mouse. If you are looking for something smaller that you can really pull off all three grip styles on, presuming you have like medium to medium large hands, it's definitely it's a viable shape. I mean, I don't know what else there is to say. It's not really reinventing the wheel. The side holes are fucking horrific. One of the just stupidest designs I've ever seen on a mouse. Just massive cheese grater holes. Thankfully, they provide some like nice rubber grips. They feel kind of similar to BTL grips. They provide them for the clicks as well. I'm just not a fan of that. The coating on this is similar to the original Starlight, so it is going to feel like a kind of glossy metal. The only problem I've actually noticed is when I've been making palm contact with this part of the mouse, it's just very slippery, and even with a tight grip, I'll notice the mouse I'm slipping around in my palm a decent bit. So yeah, obviously your mileage is going to vary with the coating of the mouse, but I definitely noticed that this area compared to both the Death Adder and the EC2 and just other mice that I claw grip, it definitely felt a lot less consistent in my hand. The clicks were something I complained about initially. They are just standard Chinese Omron 20Ms. I had some people gaslighting me saying they weren't, like, you're just dumb. But yeah, that's besides the point. I don't know if these are going to be anybody's favorite clicks though. They are very light and definitely have a lot of spammability, but you can just see there is very little travel distance on these, and there's just not a great sense of tactility. They're just clicks where you can kind of click them a lot and you won't even realize that you're clicking. I mean, I guess for some people, if you're just looking for the purest click, rebound, click again, that this will work. But if you're somebody who likes to have like an actual noticeable feeling when you click this, it doesn't exist for me. But yeah, you could say that's just a nitpick because the clicks actually do work and function perfectly fine, but it's just a very stiff, not tactile experience, which I just found to be kind of weird. But no issues with like perceived click latency. Everything about this mouse actually feels pretty sharp performance wise. I did have that one nitpick with the sensor, but most of the issues went away. I believe the main thing I was experiencing was actually wireless interference, because whenever I unplugged the other hyper polling dongles I had connected to my PC, the tracking feeling actually improved, and I stopped having whatever LOD or just like sensitivity slowing down issue I was experiencing. I'll try to throw a clip up playing small dots where you can just see that it takes more mouse movement to snap to one dot than the rest of them. I just don't know what the issue ultimately was, but it got a lot better after I removed the other dongles and swapped on the glass mouse gates they provide, which performance-wise, I honestly can't say that they are the best glass mouse gates. They do get very dense and sticky feeling if you use them on a standard cloth pad for a long session. But out of the box, they did feel fine for a few days, but I would just recommend the PTFE skates over them. The side buttons really don't hit. Especially if you need them for Fortnite or something. This back side button positioning is really bad in my opinion. Like, just look at that awkward way I have to move my thumb to hit it. If you do like really curl your finger, I mean, I guess you can hit both of them a bit easier, but you're gonna need some unique positioning to hit the side buttons that are this far up while aiming with the mouse. If you just need them every now and then, this part of the video probably not as important. You can see the scroll wheel is massively off-centered. Is that affecting the performance in any way? Not really. It's just worth noting because people are clowning Final Mouse, and now this mouse comes out of the same factory and has the same issue. Crazy stuff. The build quality of the magnesium shell is actually incredible. Like, there's no flexing, no issues with the Ultim base. And what I mean by that is there's no issues with the top piece being hooked up to the Ultim base. There obviously is going to be flex on the bottom shell, but does that fucking matter? Obviously not, because how are you going to flex the bottom shell when you're gripping the mouse from the top? So quality-wise, this thing really feels well put together. 50 grams, it is the lightest ergo. It's going to be interesting to see Lamzu's plastic ergos when they come out, because they should be around half the price. Like, will it really be worth buying this once those release? But for now, I think this is definitely something you kind of have to consider if you are making a top tier ergo mouse purchase, especially if you are somebody bought into the lighter weight mouse trends, because I mean, there's just not an ergo this light on the market. If you are somebody who already has a Death Adder V3 and is satisfied with it, I would say you really don't need to go out and buy a Stormbreaker. And if you're somebody who has an EC2 wireless or just any Zowie mouse, it's probably not going to be your cup of tea. So yeah, I can honestly say that I was wrong. I did overhate the Pwnage Stormbreaker. I kind of just dismissed it as an ergo final mouse, but you know, like, that hasn't really existed. There was no other magnesium option. Pwnage really, I mean, this is far and away the best Pwnage mouse. They have the adjustable sensor position, which is just like another cool little feature. I know I didn't really talk about that too much, but it's just like, figure most people understand how sensor position works, and you can adjust it to your preference. So yeah, this is not a mouse that, in my opinion, just clears the rest of the market. Far and away better, but it is just a sick concept that I was a bit too hard on because I did not like a few of the features. One of them was the fucking side holes, which still pissed me off, but it's like you can just cover them up and then it doesn't matter whatsoever. But yeah, not a perfect mouse. Pretty damn good though. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video, and that is going to be all. Peace.